قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن إلا قليلا مما تحسنون ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى المجتبى. My brothers and my sisters, the former prison inmate who was released, the companion of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, goes running back to the prison cell to ask Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam for the interpretation of what the king had seen in a dream. He asks and he tells him, أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخر يابسات. 7 fat cows all eating 7 skinny ones. And then you have these 7 stalks of grain, right? And then 7 that are barren, dry. What does it mean? Right? لعلي أرجع إلى الناس. So I can go back to the people and inform them of that which was seen. قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا. So he explains to him, gives him the dream interpretation. For 7 consecutive years you are going to be planting the grains. فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله. And once it harvests, leave it inside of its stalks. إلا قليلا مما تأكلون. And in these 7 years, you only take a little bit that you consume. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن إلا قليلا مما تحسنون. And then the second set of 7 years, you eat from that which you were storing in the first, and you leave a little bit behind. So the first 7, they were tying their stomachs, as they say, right, for that which is going to come. The 7 difficult, hard years ahead. So now we need to think ahead. We need to be economical, right? So they would store a lot and eat a little bit from it. The second 7 years, right, they would eat and they would only leave a little bit. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. And then after that, the period that follows, Allah Azza wa Jalla will send down rains, and then the people will go back to normal as it was. So after he gave the dream interpretation, Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us that the king said, bring him to me. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam will spend all of this time now in a prison cell. The king asks for him. The Malik then says, the king, as Allah tells us, bring him to me. وقال الملك ائتوني به. فلما جاءه الرسول. When the messenger now came to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam to give him the good news that he is now a free man, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is something that was very, very intelligent. Of course, he's been accused, and accusations don't just filter into the air, right? Because of what he has been painted with, these false accusations of wanting to cheat, wanting to go behind his back, and so on and so forth. He told him to go back to the king and to ask those women who had accused him and made all of these allegations. اللاتي قطعن أيديهن, those who are cutting their fingers. إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing of their treacherous tricks that they wanted to trap me in. قال ما خطبكن إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه. So then the king, he lined them all up and he asked them, ما خطبكن? Right? What was wrong with you all? إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه. When you tried to seduce Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, right? They lost their minds. They were blown away. When Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam entered upon them, قلنا حاشا لله ما علمنا عليه من سوء. Right? Subhanallah. They said حاشا لله. Right? We didn't come to know of any evil that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam ever carried out. قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق. So the wife of Al-Aziz, she said, now the truth has come to light. أنا راودت عن نفسي. I'm the one who tried to seduce him. وإنه لمن الصادقين. And he was truthful all this time. ذلك ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين. And it was then that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam uttered, after being exonerated of that which he was accused of, where he uttered, ذلك ليعلم, so that they can know, أني لم أخنه بالغيب, that I didn't go behind his back. I didn't try to cheat on his wife. Right? وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not guide the plots of the treacherous. Right? Because after being released, my brothers and my sisters, there would always be that cloud over his head. Right? No matter where he reaches in life, right? People don't forget. When you think about it and compare it to the situation of today, the cancel culture, the people easily forget, even after making tawbah, right? People always have on the back of their minds, yes, he did this, he did that. And now he's trying to tell us what is right and what is wrong, right? People today are very, very unforgiving, let alone at any other time, right? And the more time goes on, as the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, لا يأتي زمان الذي بعده شر منه. There doesn't come a time except that the time that comes after is worse. Subhanallah. Then my brothers and my sisters, we enter into a new phase of Surah Yusuf. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. He says, I do not free myself from any shortcomings. Indeed, the nafs, the soul, is ammara bis-su', right? It always gravitates towards evil. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي, except that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has had mercy upon. إِنَّ رَبِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all forgiving and all merciful. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ أَسْتَخْلِصْهُ لِنَفْسِي. So then the king said, bring him to me, so that I can exonerate him myself. فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. And after he spoke to him, he said, today you're going to have a lofty position amongst us. قَالَ اجْعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ إِنِّي حَفِيظٌ عَلِيمٌ. He then requested to be appointed as the Chancellor of Egypt. Someone may say, why is he putting himself forward? At times you need to put yourself forward if you are the most qualified, right? Imagine now you pull the humility card, which is not always praiseworthy. When is it not praiseworthy? When there's a need for you to step up, but then, right, you go into hiding mode. No, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was the most qualified. He had the traits and the qualities, right? So he put himself forward. Inni hafidhun alim. I'm someone that is extremely trustworthy and knowledgeable. وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء ولا نضيع أجر المحسنين. Allah then tells us, right? And as such, we gave Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam a lofty position, a high status, where he now roams on the face of the earth in a manner that he wishes. نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء. We shower our mercy upon who we wish. ولا نضيع أجر المحسنين. And we never allow the reward of the muhsineen, the good doers, to go to waste. Right? Remember, my brothers and my sisters, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did the right thing. Right? Even when things got difficult. as we mentioned previously, right? That incident of that auntie. When I sat with her in the month of Ramadan, she stopped worshipping Allah, she stopped fasting, she stopped praying, right? Because of some of the difficulties and hardships that she was going through. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did not do that when things got very, very difficult, right? Wallahu musta'an wa alayhi tuklan wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. After becoming the Chancellor, my beloved brothers and sisters, right? The famine struck. And then people in Egypt and the surrounding countries, they would come and visit the palace, hoping to receive some sustenance to help them through the difficulty, hoping to help them through the difficult years ahead, right? Allah then tells us, وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. The brothers of Yusuf, they entered to the palace, and Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam recognized them. However, they weren't able to tell that this was Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, right? وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالَ ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَبِيكُمْ أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ. So then they began to converse, and Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam realized that they have a brother that hasn't accompanied them to acquire and look for this sustenance to help them through the difficult years. And after conversing with his brothers, right, he came to realize, of course, that they did not come with their brother Binyamin. And because Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam wanted to see his most beloved brother, he told them that they need to come back with him. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. And then the brothers of Yusuf entered upon him. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam recognized them, however they didn't, right? And because of course Binyamin wasn't with them, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, after having conversed with them, instructed them to bring their brother next time round. Otherwise, they will again walk away with no wheat, with no barley. There are difficult years ahead. They are in need. So do as you are being instructed. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالَ ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَبِيكُمْ أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنْزِلِينَ فَإِنْ لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ قالوا سنراود عنه أباه وإنا لفاعلون. So they said, we'll ask our father. We'll try our utmost best. Right? So as they were about to walk out, disappointed, not having been given anything, right? Yusuf instructed his servants now to fill their backpacks with the wheat that they came for. So then they ended up going back. And to their surprise, after arriving back home, they told their father that they were refused. And after opening their backpack, they realized that Yusuf did actually put sustenance in there for them. Right? It is then when they asked their father, "Oh father, let us take Binyamin, and we will come back with a lot more sustenance that will perhaps help us through these difficult days ahead." And then, my brothers and my sisters, there comes another part of this wonderful story where they return back to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam another time. And then, my brothers and my sisters, Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam go through difficulties, trials and tribulations. And then to find out what happens next, my brothers and my sisters, join me in the next episode where we will take so many more gems and pearls from the most detailed story in the Quran, Surah Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You want me to trust you the same way I trusted you all the first time round? Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam hasn't forgotten. You don't just start having bad assumptions of your brother the first time you meet him. Especially also if you don't know anything about him. Right? So then he was said to them, what is the punishment of the one who is caught lying? قالوا جزاؤه من وجد في رحله فهو جزاؤه